Good morning, everyone. We started with the balance of payment. What do you mean by balance of payment? Tomlin, can you say what is balance of payment?
Ma'am, it is a statement showing the monetary transactions of a
What,
ma'am,
what transactions?
monetary transactions
Okay.
of a country
Mm.
with the rest of the world.
In a given period of time. Okay. Now there are two important sides for balance of payment account. What are those two sides? Aparna?
Ma'am, source and uses.
Two sides.
Oh, ma'am, credit side and debit side.
Credit side and debit side. Now, two parts. In two parts, we are recording what you said, uses and sources. What do you mean by sources? Pavitra, can you say? What do you mean by sources? What all will come in that? Pavitra, it's not connected. Hannah?
Yes, ma'am.
What all will come under side? I mean, in the part of sources.
Exports, transfer from abroad, income.
Louder, little louder.
Exports, transfer from abroad, income from investment abroad, foreign investment.
Okay, these are all sources of foreign exchange. Anila, what do you mean by uses of foreign exchange?
Ma'am, causing outflow of foreign exchange.
Causing outflow of foreign exchange. What all will come in the outflows of foreign exchange? Amalraj, can you tell? Amalraj. What all are included in the outflows of foreign exchange, or how in what all ways we are using the foreign exchange? Amal. Karthik.
Imports, transfers to abroad, income paid off, for investments from abroad, lending abroad.
Investment from abroad. Are we using their investment to abroad, right?
Yes, ma'am.
When we are investing in the abroad, that comes under the uses here. Okay. So these are the important points which we discussed. There we discussed economic transactions. 4 components are there in the economic transactions. Aishwarya, can you tell what are those 4 components?
Visible items, invisible items, unilateral transfers, and capital transfers.
Okay. Aditya, what do you mean by visible?
All goods which are imported and exported.
All goods which we can see and which we can touch, those things which are used for import and exports, that comes under the visible items. Aparna, can you tell what do you mean by invisibles? Is invisible items?
Ma'am, these include all the types of services which cannot be seen, touched, but it can be felt.
Okay, it can be felt. There 2 things are coming. One is factor service, another one non-factor services also, that I'll tell you in detail. Next, what do you mean by transfers, Grishma?
Ma'am, unilateral?
Yeah.
One-way transactions without repayment in present or future.
Yeah, without repayment, or it will not be repaid, or it is just given once, means that is over. Next, what do you mean by capital transfers? Sorry, capital transfers. Tomlin, can you say? What is that? Capital transfers. It includes what?
Ma'am, purchase of assets.
Hmm?
Purchase of assets.
Only that?
Borrowings.
Borrowings. Then that shows the capital receipts here. Okay. Next one, structure of POP that I told you, credit side and debit side we have. Credit side we are including all the inflows, and debit side we are including all the outflows here. Next, what do you mean by current account? Current account. Sharath, do you know what is current account?
Yes, ma'am. It's a bank account.
I'm asking current account of balance of payments, okay? Current account. Just see what it is. What do you mean by current account? Sharath?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that? Tell.
It records all the foreign exchange, foreign trade and transfers and factor incomes.
Okay. And what is the speciality is that? Liabilities or assets of the assets, it will not be affected. It will be neither increased or decreased. That is a difference between current account and capital account. It records all the inflows and outflows of foreign exchange, but the speciality is that liabilities or assets of the country, it will neither increased or it will be neither increased or decreased. Capital account, what is that? That also will be including or all the inflows and outflows, but we can see that liabilities or assets of the country are either increased or decreased. Okay, this point, it was not there. You can just add it up. In the capital account, liabilities or assets of a country, it will be either increased or decreased. But in the current account, liabilities or the assets, it will or are neither increased or decreased. Okay, now here the components of balance of payments is given. First, we are going to see about the current account. Again, once more, it records all the inflows and outflows of the foreign exchange from the foreign trade, transfers or factor incomes, but it doesn't affect the assets and liabilities of the economy with respect to the world. So in there we can see mainly two things, visible items and invisible items. Here in the invisible, we have included the transfer receipts also. Okay, so the first one, visible items, or it is also known as merchandise. So sometimes they will be using the term merchandise for visible trade. There on the credit side, we can see export of goods, and in the debit side, import of goods. And export minus, that is the net you will be getting. Exports minus imports in the credit last column. So merchandise, visible trade is also known as merchandise, or it is known in this term also. Two things are coming here, export of goods and import of goods. And visible items, as you all know that it is the transfer of or buying and selling of goods, visible items that can be touched or that can be seen. Second one, invisibles. There three things are coming. One is export of services. You know that export of services, are we able to earn income or are we giving or using income in the export of services? Anila, when we export services, are we able to earn income or are we using? Is it an inflow or outflow?
Ma'am, we are using.
Are we using?
No, we are earning.
We are getting, right? So that is an inflow. So that will be recorded on which side?
Credit.
Credit. Okay. So export of services means we are getting. Okay, we are getting inflow of foreign exchange that will be recorded in the credit part. At the same time, import of services, you know that sometimes we take the help of foreign people, non-resident people, and we have to pay that. So we are using our foreign exchange that comes under the debit side here. Okay. Next one, factor income from abroad. Factor income from abroad means what? This term you have heard before also. What do you mean by that? Factor income from abroad. Karthik. What do you mean by that?
The income that the Indian citizens earn from.
The income that we earn
from other countries.
From other countries. Income in the sense when we sell our factors. What are the factors here? What do you mean by factors here? Especially when you sell our labor. Otherwise, we might have invested outside. You are getting profit from it. That is also a factor income. Okay. Or if you have some asset there, you are earning some rent from that. That is also a factor income. So factor incomes come from abroad that will be recorded on which side? Aishwarya?
On the credit side.
On the credit side. Okay. At the same time, when we import services from other countries, when foreign people are coming and working here, from here we have to pay. So we are using the foreign exchange. When we are using the foreign exchange, that will be recorded in the debit side of the balance of payment. Okay. Next one. Other than this factor payments, we have non-factor payments also that is not shown here. Non-factor payments in the sense when we use the service of shipping, banking, insurance, all those things all comes under the non-factor income. Okay, so the non-factor services, you can take it as non-factor services. So that comes under, whenever we are getting it, it comes under the credit side. Whenever we are using others services, that will come under the debit side. So there one more portion is there, that is in the factor income. There one more portion is there, that is non-factor services. Example, banking, shipping, insurance and all. Next one, transfer receipts from abroad. What do you mean by transfer receipts, Tomlin? Tomlin, what do you mean by transfer receipts? Tomlin, is there any problem?
I don't know, ma'am.
Okay, Ashish?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean by transfer receipts? Now again, I feel that we have to go back to all the 4 items. What do you mean by transfer receipts? Okay, I'll make one person to tell and I want you people to repeat that, okay? Aishwarya, can you tell what all will come under transfer receipts?
Any goods that are sent from abroad.
Transfer receipts, transfers. What do you mean by transfers inside our country? This transfers only, what do you mean by that? Unilateral transfers. Unilateral transfers, you know what it is, right? Transfers, when we talk here, transfer receipts, transfers, you have learned that inside our country also government gives transfers. What do you mean by that transfers? Wait, let me ask someone. Irfan, what about you? Do you know?
No.
Basil?
No.
Say louder.
I don't know, ma'am.
Pavitra. Pavitra.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what do you mean by transfers? This you have learned in the money and banking, that chapter also you have learned. Transfers in our country. What do you mean by that? Karthik. He's not there. Aditya.
Ma'am, donations and all.
Donations, gifts.
One side.
Yeah, one-sided payments. It will not be paid in the future. So sometimes it can be some gifts or some donations or scholarships. In our country, government gives transfers. That is old age pension. That also comes under transfers here. So the same way between the countries also we have transfer receipts. What all can come in the transfer receipts? Now, Irfan, can you say what will come under the transfer receipts? Irfan is not there. Yes, Irfan. Inside the country, I told what do you mean by transfer receipts. So between the countries, what all things will come under transfer receipts, or what all things are coming under the unilateral transfers. Irfan. Irfan, if you don't know, you say that. Tomlin.
Ma'am, government and private transfers.
Government
and private transfers.
Wait, let me go to the previous topic. That is better. Here, unilateral transfers. We are talking about the transfers between the countries. Okay. What all transfers are given, shown here on the slide? Tomlin.
Ma'am, unilateral transfers, no?
Yeah, that is what I'm asking. Transfers, what all will come under transfers?
Ma'am, gifts, grants, other one-way transfers.
Donations and all. Okay, what is the speciality of this transfers?
Does not involve repayment.
No need to pay it back. It involves, it is a one-sided payment or one-way transactions. Okay, now between the countries, when you just think, when there will be unilateral transactions between the countries? When there will be transactions between the countries, these transfer payments I am talking, when it will be? Yes. Aditya, can you tell one example?
Ma'am, if there is any flood or anything.
If there is a?
Any flood or anything.
Okay, if there is a natural calamity. Okay, you think that there is a natural calamity in our country. So, okay. So, next step is what? Tell. Just tell an example. Take any country. Tell an example then.
Ma'am, when there was flood in Kerala, like many of them from abroad and all they had.
They were complete.
Helped us.
They helped us. Maybe some countries helped us. And sometimes you can see even some people also helped our state. Right. So all those transfers will be recorded in which side of the balance of payment? It is all inflows or outflows?
Credit side.
It will be recorded on the credit side. Okay, good. Next, you can see, next I want one person to tell. Aishwarya, can you tell an example for outflows in the transfer payments? Transfers. An outflow.
When loans are taken from other countries.
What? Once more?
Loans which other countries offer.
Loan, is it a loan? Loan, what is the speciality? We have to pay it back, right?
Yes.
So here, no, loans will not come. See, transfers, when we got, you understood, right? So when outflow is there in transfers means what? It's that only we have received, we are getting money from other countries. Have you heard?
When there is any natural calamity in
When
other
there is,
places.
when there is a natural calamity in
other places, we give
other
them
countries.
We give them some help.
Yeah, our government gives sometimes some grants or sometimes some help to them, so that we are giving in free. We are not getting it back. So that comes under which part of balance of payment?
Debit side.
Debit side, because we are using our foreign exchange for others. Okay, so that will come under the debit side. So first of all, you should understand what all are there in visible item, invisible item, unilateral transfers and capital transfers. Then only we can see that whether it is an inflow or outflow, and then only we can mark it either on the credit side or debit side. Okay, so I am just taking that slide now. Here, factor income abroad, factor payments made abroad, that I told you. Transfer receipts from abroad. From abroad, it is received by our country, so that is recorded on the credit side. Transfer payments to abroad, we are paying abroad, so that will come in the debit side. Okay, now in transfer receipts also you can see there are two types: official or government transfers, private transfers. Official, or it can be official or private transfers. Official or private transfers in the sense, official, it can be done by our government or it will be done by private people. Okay, I told you, or Aishwarya, you who said that related to private people? Aditya, right? Private people also sent money to our country. Yes, to help the people of our country. So that comes under the private gift or grants to the people of our country. Whenever any government is helping our country, that is called as official or government transfers here. Okay, so these are the components of current account. Once more, just listen. The first thing, that is merchandise or visible trade or visible items, those goods which can be seen, those comes under the visible trade. Invisible trade in the sense, the factor services, the services and the non-factor service, factor services and the non-factor services. Another one, transfer, receipts and payments. Transfers will come in this. Okay, once more, this is given in your textbook. Current account, it has three parts: trade in goods, trade in services, and the transfer payments. Trade in goods, we can see two parts for that. It can be export also, it can be import also. Trade in services, it can be factor income and non-factor income. Factor incomes means two are coming in that. You know that the compensation of employees, that wages and rent and all those things will come under that. Investment income, that as a profit also you are going to get some amount of money if you are investing outside. it will be getting for you. If someone is investing our country, you will be, we have to give profit to them. Like that, factor income will be there. Non-factor income, shipping, banking, insurance, tourism, software services, all these things are coming under the non-factor services. It also has debit and credit side. Transfer payments, gifts and remittance, and it is not necessary to be paid it back. It is a one-way transactions. Okay. Next one. Once more, put it in the words. Just understand properly. Current account, it is a record of trade where goods and services are traded. At the same time, there are transfer payments. When we talk about trade in goods, it consists of exports and imports. So current account has is a record of three things. One, trade in goods. Another one, trade in services. Another one, transfer payments. When we tell trade in goods, that consists of exports and imports. Trade in services, I told factor income is there, non-factor income is there. These transactions will come under trade in services. Now, transfer payments, these are the receipts you can see, which the residents are getting free from outside, or sometimes we are paying to others for free. We are not asking it for repayment. So all those, once if you pay, it's a one-way transactions, that comes under transfer payments. What all will be included in that? Gifts, it can be, remittance, it can be, grants, it can be given by government or the private citizens. All of you understood, right? Is there any difficulty in this? Always keep those four items in your mind, and whenever we are, that four items also has two sides, credit side and debit side. Whenever we are receiving something, it will be recorded in the credit side. When we are using, when you are giving out, when we are using our foreign exchange, that will come under the debit side. Now, examples are given. Buying foreign goods. Okay. We are buying some foreign goods, that will be recorded in which side? That will be recorded on which side? Someone can say. I need not ask call someone. Yes.
Debit.
On the debit side. Why do we say it is on debit side? What is the reason?
Because we are spending money on buying it.
Yeah, we are spending money or we are using. Always just keep that term using foreign goods. Okay, so buying foreign goods is an expenditure from our country. So it is an income for other country. Okay, it is an income for other country and we are using our foreign exchange. So that will be recorded debit side of the balance of payment here. Okay, so hence the purchase of foreign goods, or when we import goods from other countries, what will happen? Domestic demand will be reducing. Domestic demand in the sense, goods and services, what we are producing in our country, the demand for that products will be reducing. So when it is reducing, what will happen to the aggregate demand? That will be reducing. Aggregate demand for domestic goods and services will be reduced. So here, purchase of foreign goods means we are importing goods from other country. So when we are importing goods from other country, what happens to the demand for our products? That will be reduced. So it decreases the demand for goods and services produced in our country. The same way, if we are exporting goods, what will happen? When we export goods, what will happen? Aditya?
Ma'am, domestic demand.
Domestic demand will increase. That means we have to make more and more goods in our country, and we are selling those goods to other countries. So this will increase this will lead to the increase in the demand for our goods and services of our country. Okay, so two situations here. When we are importing or when we are purchasing, what will happen? It will be recorded on which side? Debit side. When we are exporting goods to other countries, what will happen? That will be recording. That will be recorded on which side?
Credit side.
Credit side. Okay. Next. So current account. It is a record of business and commodities, transfer payments and services. This is the same explanation put in another word. It is a record of business and commodities and services and transfer payments. Okay. Now here in two parts it is given. One is balance of trade, another one is balance on invisibles. Now, sometimes they used to ask a question, what do you mean by balance of payments, or what do you mean by differentiate between balance of payments and balance of trade? Balance of trade is entirely different from balance of payments. Balance of payments, you know that it includes all the current account and capital account. Okay. But in balance of trade, it includes only the trade in visibles. Trade in visibles means what? What do you mean by trade in visibles? Not invisible. What do you mean by that?
Goods and all.
Only the trade in goods. That means export and import of goods. So when we talk about balance of trade, it includes only the export and import of goods. We are not including the export and import of services or transfers. Nothing is included. Okay. So it has two parts, balance of trade or balance on invisibles. Balance of trade is also known as trade balance. So I'll just take that previous slide here. Here in this, if you see, when we talk about balance of trade, only this part will be included. The remaining is excluded. Got it? We are including only the physical goods. We are including only the visible goods. When we talk about balance of trade or trade balance, we are including only the visible items or the visible goods. That is export of goods and import of goods. So just keep this in your mind. There is a difference between balance of payments and balance of trade. Now, what do you mean by balance of trade? It is a difference between value of exports of goods and value of imports of goods. Whenever you write the definition, you have to write import and export of goods. Goods should be there. If you simply write value of export and imports, that means it is including services, goods, transfers, everything. Okay. So when you are writing balance of trade, you have to mention value of export of goods and import of goods, or value of visible items in export and import. That should be mentioned. Simply don't mention that is value of export and imports. So during a year, whatever we are exporting, whatever goods we are exporting, whatever goods we are importing, that difference, if you see the difference in the value, we will be getting balance of trade. Now, export of goods, we are entering in the credit side of the balance of payment, whereas in balance of trade, whereas import, of goods is entered in the debit item in the balance of trade. Here balance of trade or balance of payment, it is both same. So export of goods will be entered in the credit side. Import of goods will be entered in the debit side. So balance of trade or trade balance, it is a part of balance of statement, balance of payment statement. It is different, both are different, and it is only a part of balance of payment statement. Now before this, Femina, what are the components of balance of payments, especially in the current account? What all items are included in the current account? Femina. Below merchandise, two things are there. What are they?
Export and import of goods.
Okay, export and import of goods. Then what is the next item?
Invisibles.
Invisibles. Below invisibles, you can see three things are listed. What are they?
Export and import of service, factor income from abroad, and factor payments made abroad. Then transfer received from abroad and transfer
payments to abroad. Okay, so these are the items included in the current account. Now, Anila.
Yes, ma'am.
When we import services, that will be included in the which side of the current account?
Ma'am, debit.
Debit side. Okay. When we export services?
Ma'am, credit.
Credit. When we use some other country's shipping, that will be entered in which part? Grishma, when we are using the shipping service of other country, that comes under which side? Credit side or debit side? Grishma.
Ma'am, debit.
Debit side. Okay. So when our country's ships are used for transporting something, it will be recorded on which side?
Credit side.
Credit side. Okay. Now, next is about balance of trade, whether when it will be in balance, when it will be surplus, when it will be deficit. Now, we are talking about balance of trade, not about balance of payment. Okay, it is only a part of balance of payment here, balance of trade. What do you mean by balance of trade? Karthik?
Ma'am, export and import of only goods.
Export and import of only goods. Now, when can we say it is in balance? When the value of exports are equal to the value of imports, we can say that balance of trade will be in balance.